post-match press conference review for the Reggae Boyz as we fell 1-0 to the United States of America in our home office, National Stadium, Kingston, Jamaica. The first leg, the first of two legs for this CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinals. Big things on the line. An automatic qualifier to the 2025 Gold Cup. Also closer to winning the CONCACAF Nations League if we were able to get past the United States of America, who has won the last three. All three Nations League was won by the USA, and we taking on the mighty USA to knock them out the way to give ourselves an opportunity to try and win this tournament. What's going on, my lovely people? Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. It does help with the growth and the visibility of the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting on, but please kindly consider subscribing to the channel, because we got a lot of content on this channel that we want to bring to you, and we want to talk about the game that we love, which is football, and definitely talking about the Reggae Boyz. Now, we're going to break down the press conference mixed in with a little bit of other videos taking place. I want to give you some understanding of what the coach talked about, what was his key points to the game, how he's seen the game from the sideline, and then give you a little bit of mixture of the players that was on the pitch and how they seen the game and whether or not they both come together seamlessly, because that's important. Yeah, the message from the sideline with the players executing it on the field is very important, and we're going to talk about that here in this video. Thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for another one, because without him, none of this would be possible, man. But shout out to everybody that continue to like, comment, and subscribe to this platform. Appreciate it very much. We're going to continue to do our very best, do my very best to bring you the best analysis, breakdown, and opinions when it comes to football here on Next Up Sports. So let's jump right into it. So Steve McClaren had some things he talked about. He was pleased with the way the team played the game. I got my notes here. I had to write them down, make sure that, you know. So this is what Steve McClaren had to say, and I want to combat some of what he had to say. He liked the fighting spirit of Jamaica's fighting spirit. After going down 1 goal within first 5 minutes of the game, just being able to bounce back and just continue to fight the USA, getting an opportunity through that fighting to potentially level the score. The penalty was missed by Demarai Gray. Unfortunately, that happens in football. I mean, you don't want it to happen too often, because we have seen great players miss penalties, and trust me, their career, that's what they talk about. They talk about the penalties that you missed that could have led the team to either win a tournament or advance further in a tournament. So you don't want that to be the highlight. You don't want the spotlight to be on the fact that the penalty was the cause as to why the team isn't moving forward. On the thought of the penalty, Steve McClaren said the penalty was decided before the game that it's either going to be Demarai Gray or Shamar Nicholson. Demarai Gray was elected to take the penalty. Now, my question, because, you know, I don't get an opportunity, you know, to ask coach the question, because I'm not a part of, you know, the club to be able to be in this media, this is my opinion, in these media scrums to ask these questions, whether I'm there or not. So I'm going to ask my question right here to Steve McClaren. Steve, coach, Mr. McClaren, was the decision was made for two players. If a penalty is awarded, two players have the ability to take the penalty. Demarai Gray, Shamar Nicholson. On the field, who decided? Who elected Demarai Gray to take the penalty? Because everybody that I know, talking about football, would like to see Shamar Nicholson, who's the second leading goal scorer for Jamaica, to take that penalty. So I understand those two players, but I want to know who made that decision on the field. Was it a decision between Demarai Gray and Shamar Nicholson? Was it a decision between the captain saying, you know what, Demarai, you should take it? Who made that decision on the field during the game, not before the game? Before the game, we understand two players were chosen. If we get a penalty, one of these two players got to take the penalty. Shamar Nichols, but who made that decision on the field for Demarai Gray to take that penalty? That's the question I want to know. If you guys know out there, please let me know in the comment section. I'm curious to know. Nobody asked that question. Nobody asked that question. As who made that decision on the field? All right, we're going to move on from that one. So he cleared up that whole penalty taking situation. And, you know, obviously penalties happen in games, miss or make. You want them to be made more than miss, but it happens. It's football, right? The ball bouncing whatever way it feels like bouncing. The goalkeeper, you got to give him credit. He also made a great choice in going to the right side. He chose the right side and got his hand on the ball. So he made a fantastic save. So you got to give him some credit for that. You got to give Turner some credit for making that save as well. He goes on to say that in the first half, the game was too open. There was too open. U.S. was kind of dominating. In my opinion, I feel like U.S. was dominating the midfield, but he said it was too open, and he needed to change some things in the first half because they wanted to go with a press. With that press, it created opportunity for Shamar Nichols to get one-on-one with Turner, for Turner to drag him down based off that press. He said the front three being Demarai Gray, Leon Bailey, and Shamar Nicholson, they pressed on their own. They pressed on their own, and they created chances from that press. But the key part of this, I don't think Steve McClaren has seen Shamar Nicholson play like this. And he says Shamar Nicholson is a constant threat. I wouldn't want to play against him. A constant threat. So you miss Mikel Antonio, and now Shamar Nicholson was a constant threat on the field for the Reggae Boyz. But I have some issue, yeah. Steve McClaren said he created more opportunities in the first half than the second half. We created more opportunities in the first half than in the second half. So I'm going to run this little clip right here. This is Isaac Hayden talking about the first half and how he's seen the first half and how it went down. Listen up.
Well, we started off quite poor, ball well enough. They obviously got the goal. We could have got back in it with the penalty. Wasn't to be, but I thought, we started off quite poor. We didn't keep the ball well enough.
We started off quite poor, is what he had to say. So Isaac Hayden was sitting on the bench the first half beside Coach McClaren. And Coach McClaren thought they played phenomenal in the first half. The game was too open, but they played great in the first half. But Isaac Hayden sitting on the bench thought the first half was poor. So which one is it? It seems like a house divided in terms of strategy and understanding, in my opinion. It sounds like a house already divided because your special players thought the game was poor in the first half, but McClaren, apart from the few chances, thought the game was good in the second half. Coach McClaren created more opportunities in the first half, but Isaac Hayden just said that we didn't keep enough possession of the ball and we were quite poor in the first half. He came in the second half, as Steve McClaren eloquently says, the game slowed down in the second half. Damian Lowe also backed that up by saying they brought in ball handlers and players who can run at the U.S. back line. So it caused the game to be a little bit more technical, a little bit more in the balance of the Reggae Boyz because of the ball handlers. You brought in Isaac Hayden. He controlled that midfield block, moved the ball around, and then you had Cephas running down that left side. Great. And then you brought in McGee. Brought in McGee, and McGee was, on that ball, making things happen with that ball. Moving it around, putting players in space. So I'm kind of confused in that regard with the post-match press conference. Nobody didn't really ask, well, which one is it? It can't be both. Is it that we played poor or we don't? He said we dominated in the second half as well. I don't know if he felt like we dominated, but in the first half, that midfield was dominating the Reggae Boyz. period. They created way too much chances. Mind you, didn't amount to much, but they created way too much chances against us. And I think that's something that we need to think about and talk about going into the second game. As I'm looking at my notes right here. He said he thought the team played very well through 90 minutes. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with that. But again, we're not the coach. He likes the positives. He likes the fighting spirit. He closed the game in the second half. So he brought in those special players and he closed the game in the second half. Now, he said with the booing, they were booing. He said I was booing as well, sitting on that sideline because I wanted the ball to play up front quicker. I wanted the ball to play up front quicker, meaning our center backs, our left back, our right back, our midfielders, they're holding on to the ball too long. If you watch the game, you see MACCLAREN was looking at Damian Lowe, looking at Mason Holgate like he's pointing like, bring the ball up, man. Push the ball. You got to move the ball. Move the ball. If he's saying the ball needs to play quicker, that means that we are walking. The ball moves faster than us. We're carrying the ball instead of moving the ball. The ball moves faster than man. That's period. The ball moves faster than man. So we got to move the ball and we got to move it expeditiously. We got to move it quicker. We got to have that second and third option already in play from the first option. And that was the key that did not happen in the game. So positive. Yep. We want to stay positive. Can you stay positive when what you're looking at, what you're asking to be done is not being done? What you're looking to be done is not being done. So where does the positivity come from? We're not scoring no goals. We created maybe one or two good chances, including the penalty opportunity that Shamar was going on net. Nothing really happened. So that's where I'm not on the same page as Steve MACCLAREN. I'm not on the same page because, again, as the coach, as a gaffer, we want to keep everything positive and we like to fight in spirit, but we want to also see football, good football being played. You went into training and the players are not doing what you asked them to do. What you drew up on the board, they're not doing it. And you're still trying to beg them to do it in the game, but they're not doing it. But I think it's more of your fault, coach, because if you bring special players in, put them in the game. The only way for them to become acclimated with the team is to play the game. They still can play the game. So Isaac Hayden played the game. He loved Cephas. Steve MACCLAREN loved Cephas. He thought Cephas was a threat down that left side. So you can guarantee Cephas is going to be playing a lot of minutes. Tyron McGee should have been in the game as well. If you're going to have McKinney and Pulisic, who you thought was fantastic in that midfield, then you got to fill it with the midfielders. Yeah, you put Tyron McGee in there. Try it again. Tyron McGee and Casey Palmer one more time and see what can happen in this game here to combat some of that midfield play. And it never really amounted to anything. So I'm curious to see what he's going with the lineup next time. They asked him about the 6 defenders. He kind of dodged the question a little bit, in my opinion. But I mean, there's plethora of platforms that have put out the interview. Go ahead and watch that post-match press conference because I'm just bringing some key points that I feel are important that we should talk about here on this platform, Next Up Sports Talk. At 6:45 in the time, it's a 16 minute post-match press conference, but round about the 6 minute and 45 second, he talked about the opportunities that were created in the first half versus the second half, and he thought more opportunities were created in the first half versus the second half. But clearly, you just heard Isaac Hayden said in the first half, we were very poor and we did not keep the ball. So if we were very poor and didn't keep the ball, how did we create so much chances? I don't understand. Secondly, Shamar Nicholson was begging Leon Bailey, begging Damari Gray, begging them to just press. I'm pressing, press. I'm tired of seeing Shamar Nicholson go to press, look like this, and go, man, drop his head because he's running in vain. He's pressing in vain because there's no support. There's nobody coming behind to help with the press. the press that Steve McClaren is talking about. They were pressing. Yes, in the first few minutes after they scored, they started to press really hard. That's how the penalty came about. But in actuality, Shamar Nicholson was up there pressing by himself majority of the time, coming all the way back to defend in the final third to now press forward. It's a lot of running. And players would get tired like that because Shamar was tired. Ran his belly bottom out. You understand? So that's how it is. I'd play the whole interview and break it down. That's what I'd really like to do. But I don't want to get no copyright, man. So I got to talk to a few people, see if I can play that video and do my own little breakdown on it. But this is what the key points that I picked up from this game. He wanted the ball to move quicker. We clearly seen the ball didn't go. And he was begging. We were begging at home. Please just stop turning the ball back and move the ball into space and let's play with the ball. Yeah. Also, he said he created more opportunities in the first half. I don't really know about that. He's happy with McGee, Cephas, and Hayden when they came in. They totally slowed the game down, changed the game in the second half. Let me see. And the whole penalty with Shamar and Damari Gray. I think Shamar Nicholson should have took the penalty. I like to see my striker. If my striker is goal scorer, scoring goals, I'd like to see them always take the penalty. Doesn't matter who's the best player on the team. My number 9, my guy leading the line. Take that penalty. Take the penalty. Take the penalty. But that's my personal opinion. You already know how it is. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Game 2 coming up in St. Louis, Missouri. So stay locked in for that one on the 18th. Stay locked in. Stay blessed. Stay safe. You already know I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Peace and love. Steve McClaren, post-match press conference with Damian Lowe as they talk about the positivity. They talk about what to look forward to. And they're not worried, even after losing 1-0. After 4 or 5 games not scoring at home, they're not worried. They're positive. Whew. I'm going to catch you guys. I'm out. I really, really, really hope you enjoyed the video. If you want more from me and this platform, Next Up Sports Talk, subscribe to the channel. Like the video, comment on the video, because I'll be in the comment section, that's for sure. And definitely check the community page. The community page is the greatest way to keep up to date with what goes on right here at Next Up Sports Talk. We got a lot of videos on the Reggae Boyz, a lot of videos on Arsenal. We got live streams also. So stay tuned because we got more and more content coming your way. And I hope to see you on the next video with your comments, with your like, and definitely subscribing to the channel. Peace and love.